Hello, and welcome back, folks. Today's topic is DSO. What is DSO? Days Sales Outstanding is a measure of average number of days that it takes a company to collect payment from its customer. DSO is often determined on monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. To compute this DSO, divide the average account receivable during a given period of time by the total value of credit sales during the same period, and multiply the results by the number of days in the period being measured. DSO is an element of cash conversion cycle and may also be referred to as days receivable, for example, or average collections period. So, key to takeaway from this point is that the DSO, or days sales outstanding, is the average number of days it takes a company to receive payment from its customers or payment for its sales. A high DSO definitely suggests that a company is experiencing delays in receiving payments that can cause a cash flow issue. A low DSO indicates that the company is getting its payments fairly quickly, that money can be put back now into the business for the good effect of all the elements. Generally speaking, a DSO under 45 days is considered low. So, while understanding the days sales outstanding, or DSO, given the vital importance of cash flow in running a business, it is in a company's best interest to collect its outstanding accounts receivable as quickly as possible. Companies can expect with relative certainty that they will in fact be paid their outstanding receivables, but because of the time value of the money principle, time spent waiting to be paid is money lost. That said, the definition of quickly itself is also depending on the businesses. For example, in the financial industry, relatively long payment terms are common. In the agriculture and fuel industries, fast payments are crucial. In general, small business rely more heavily on steady cash flow than large and diversified companies. DSO, basically, the formula works like this: DSO is equal to total credit sales by account receivable and then multiplied by the number of days. By quickly turning sales into cash, a company has a chance to put the cash to use again more quickly. We all know that cash is the lifeline of a company. So, how the numbers work, what the numbers tell us. A high DSO number shows that a company is selling its products to the customer on credit and waiting a long time to collect that money. This can lead to cash flow problems. A low DSO value means that it takes a company fewer days to collect its account receivable. That company is promptly getting the money it needs to create new businesses. In effect, determining the average length of time that a company's outstanding balances are carried into receivable can reveal a great deal about the nature of the company's cash flow. Having said that, it is very important to remember that the formula for calculating DSO only accounts for credit sales, while cash sales may be considered to have a DSO of zero, let's say. They are not factored into DSO calculations. If they were factored into the calculations, they would decrease the DSO, and companies with a high proportion of cash sales would have lower DSO than those with a high proportion of credit sales. What are the applications of this DSO things? So DSO outstanding can be analyzed in a wide variety of ways. It suggests how effective and efficient the company's collections department is, and the degree to which the company is maintaining customer satisfaction. It also identifies or helps to identify customers who are not creditworthy. Looking at a DSO value for a company for a single period can provide a good benchmark for quickly assessing a company's cash flow. However, trends in DSO over time are much more useful, I will say. They can act as an early warning and sign of trouble. Good and bad DSO numbers, they have a different effect. So if a company's DSO is increasing, it's a warning sign definitely that something is wrong. customer satisfaction might be declining, or the salespeople may be offering longer terms to the customers to drive increased DSO, or the company may be allowing customers with poor credit to make purchases on credit. So that these are a few of the effects. So a sharp increase in DSO can cause a company serious cash flow problems. If a company's ability to make its own payments in a timely fashion is disrupted, it may be forced to make drastic changes. Generally, when looking at a given company's cash flow, it is helpful to track the company's DSO over time to determine if its DSO is trending up or down, or if there are patterns in the company's cash flow history, etc. DSO may vary consistently on a monthly basis, particularly if the company's product is seasonal, let's say. If a company has a volatile DSO, this may be cause for concern. But if the DSO regularly dips during a particular season each year, it could be no reason to worry about. There are certain limitations as well to this DSO element as a metric. Attempting to gauge the efficiency of business, DSO, or days outstanding sale, comes with a limitation that is important for any investor to consider. When using DSO to compare the cash flow of a number of companies, you should compare companies within the same industry with same business models and the revenue numbers as well. If you try to compare companies in different industries and of different sizes, the results you will get will be definitely misleading, because they often have very different DSO benchmarks and eventually the targets as well. When DSO is not relevant, DSO is not particularly useful in comparing companies with significant differences in the proportion of sales that are made on credit. The DSO of a company with a low proportion of credit sales does not indicate much about the company's cash flow. Comparing such companies with those that have a high proportion of credit sales also says very little. In addition to this, DSO is not a perfect indicator of a company's account receivable efficiency. Fluctuating sale volumes can affect DSO, and any increase in the sales lowering the DSO value can have an effect. Uh, then another thing comes the DDSO, so delinquent days sales outstanding. Is a good alternative for credit collections assessment or for use of alongside DSO. Like any metric measuring a company's performance, DSO should not be considered alone, but rather should be used with other matrices. Some other questions which are commonly asked around the DSO I would like to answer here. So how do you calculate, for example, DSO? That's one of the very common questions. So dividing the total number of accounts receivable during a given period, as I said, by the total dollar value of credit sales during the same period, then multiply the results by the number of days in the period being measured. That is one thing. Another common question I get is, what is a good DSO ratio? So a good or a bad DSO ratio may vary according to the type of business and industry that the company operates in. That said, a number of 45, let's say, is considered to be good for most of the businesses. It suggests that company's cash flow is flowing in at a reasonably efficient rate, ready to be used to generate new businesses and support it. Another question that I get is, how do you calculate DSO for 3 months? So during the last 3 months of the year, company are made of, let's say, a total of $1.5 million in credit sales and had a, let's say, 1,050,000 in account receivable. The time period covers, let's say, 92 days. Company's DSO for that period is calculated as follows. The 1,050,000 divided by 1.5 million equal to 0.7 multiplied by 92 equals to 64.4. So the DSO for the business in this period is 64.4. Why DSO is important? This is also a very frequent question. A high DSO number can indicate that cash flow of the business is not ideal. It varies, of course, by business, but a number below 45 is considered very good. It's best to track the number over time. If the number is climbing, there may be something wrong in the collections department, or the company may be selling to customers with less than optimal credit. In any case, the company's cash flow is at risk. So the cash collection or the debt collection experts suggest that tracking DSO over the time also creates an alternative for payment department to stay on top of the unpaid invoices. Needless to say, a small department can use its DSOs to identify and flag customers that are weighing it down by not paying promptly. In the bottom line, in many businesses, the days outstanding numbers can be valuable indicator for the efficiency of the business and the quality of its cash flow. If the number gets too high, it could even disrupt the normal operations of the business, causing its own outstanding payments to be delayed, back to back effect. In any case, cash delayed is cash lost to any business in the world. So I hope, folks, I was able to give you a little perspective on this DSO thing, and to clarify some of the common questions that you have in your head about the DSO, the calculation, the effect itself, and what is a nominal or good DSO. So with this, I would like to thank all of you for being here. Do use the comment section of this video to share your feedback on my videos. Also to share your point of view on any other terminologies, any other business, let's say, dimensions you would like to understand, very specifically related to, let's say, net working capital, cash collections, and stuff like that. So I look forward for your comments, and I wish all of you a good rest of the day ahead. And don't forget to subscribe my channel. Looking forward to see you again. Till then, ta-da.